Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life, won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last. My father is no longer alive, but the older I get, I realize that a lot of who I am is because of Lyndon Leslie Daly. This time around, we're talking about how can father absenteeism impact our society. This is Making It Last podcast, and I'm your host, Noreen Daly. And with me is Asheki Spooner, Director of Advocate for Change, where their focus is primarily on father absenteeism. So she is right here ready with statistics and all of that to share. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So, how can father absenteeism impact our society?
So let's start first with the statistics of what the information is out there.
Okay.
Numerous research has shown that persons who experience father absenteeism are 5 times more likely to commit suicide. They are 32 times more likely to run away. They're 20 times more likely to have behavioral disorders. But check this out, they're also 14 times more likely to commit rape. They are 9 times more likely to drop out of high school, and they're also 20 times more likely to end up in prison. That's the kind of environment we're creating when a father is absent from a home.
Okay, I'm going to resort to vernacular and say this. Is this foreign statistics?
No, it's not
Okay.
foreign statistics.
Okay.
Because I know that when these things happen, one of the things we're more likely to do is to cite this information. But no, this is actually Jamaican-based information gathered from Dr. Coombs, that is the director for the National Association of the Family.
Okay. So how then? So this is what it is currently. What can we do about it, and how then is it then impacting our society right now?
How it's impacting our society right now? Just look around. We see crime happening all around us. As a matter of fact, I saw a video passing on social media the other day with 2 young ladies. There were 3 young ladies. One that is not shown, but the other 2 had another. And this description is going to be a bit graphic. Had another young lady just stabbing her multiple times. The video went on for about 6 minutes, and for that 6 minutes, they were stabbing the young lady, and the other one proceeded to try to cut her neck with a knife. So she was there just trying to rub her neck out. And to me, it's like, when did we get here? Because usually we hear about these criminal activities. Sometimes they're male-centered, and we want to ask these questions. And the other day we saw kidnapping happening in Mapen, and to me that's movie type behavior. Organized crime in Jamaica usually was about marijuana or something of the sort, but now we have organized criminal behavior in other areas, and these are impacts of father absenteeism. In the circles of advocates, sometimes it's joke around that father absenteeism is the father of all criminal activities, and we tend to want to joke about it, but the reality is, in a society like Jamaica, where father absenteeism is now the norm, it really is alarming, because more and more, because it's a so entrenched in society that it's okay to be away from your child, or it's okay to just leave the child on the mother. You find it that these individuals are the idea is, from a child's perspective, or even looking back at my life, the idea for me was that the more I act out, the more I misbehave, is the more opportunities I create for my father to ask me a question. So if it is, we're creating a society whereas in order for you to get the attention that you believe you deserve as a child is to act out, they're going to continuously act out. But what you find happening is that this behavior, because they've been modifying their behavior over a period of time that they don't even understand why they're reacting a certain way. And over a period of time, this behavior has been so deep-seated in their bones that it's now natural for them to act in this manner, because now they don't even question why they're doing it, because this is repeated behavior over a period of time. These are long-lasting effects into adulthood. You'd have persons like myself who are sometimes more withdrawn, because the thing about it is that you don't assess it from from an external perspective. Now I can look at the data and assess it. But whilst growing up, for me, it wasn't that I was thinking like, this is why I'm behaving this way. For me, I thought it was only natural I behave this way because nobody cares. Nobody care what I do, so I behave better. So if nobody cares, who then is there to hold you to a standard? Mind you, I had a strong mother who was raised in hell and high water. But for me, it was still nobody wasn't there. It's not that I didn't love my mother, but because both were not on one accord. And if you look into our society as well, you find where you have your fathers. You go to your father, Daddy, can I go to sports day? Go ask your mother. What kind of response is that? And, we take these things lightly, but these are the type of things that shape the tomorrow that we hope to see. So we have to be careful about what the tomorrow is that we're creating for ourselves.
What about some fathers who will say, but I really can't help it. I have to be absent for some period. For example, one of the programs that I'm sure continue to help a lot of families in Jamaica is a farm work program. And a lot of times these fathers leave for an extended period. So would you then say that, because financially it has an effect on the family, and more often than not a positive one. So how then would you factor that in with the whole idea of father absenteeism?
So, and we call that the barrel picnic syndrome. So you realize that the interaction that they have with this child is monetary, but you can correct this. There is no farm work program that requires you to work 24/7.
Okay.
Yes. So you can make a phone call to that child. How was school? Sometimes you might be deadbeat tired and you can't afford to make the call more than once per week. But the idea is to create the channel for communication. So if it's even for the child, and you have WhatsApp now, everybody have access to WhatsApp. So the child WhatsApp your message, Daddy, this is happening at school. You might not be able to respond right away, but you respond eventually. And you have to create the opportunities. The opportunities are not just there. You have to create them. I have a young man that was introduced to me the other day by Marcellus, and this young man, the mother of the child was away, and what happened is that he recorded the 365 days of the child's life for the mother. So that mother didn't miss a thing.
Wow.
Because the mother gets to see what's happening and, what's around. And it's amazing for me, because for me, it's like, wow, that can happen. And, so that mother doesn't get to miss anything because she is involved. These opportunities can be created as well with communication. And that's why communication in a relationship is important. If you communicate effectively with your spouse, then you can create these opportunities to experience this fulfilling relationship with your children, whether you're abroad or locally.
Okay. How can society help to counteract the negatives that continue to prevail society because of absenteeism? I mean, can we then, for want of a better way of describing it, substitute for the father not being here, especially if it is that some fathers really are trying to make a better life,
Right. So one of the things that we often encourage at Advocate for Change is mentorship. Mentorship programs are really the way to go, because what you then, in lieu of the father, you then have somebody that the child can communicate with, child can relate with, and you have groups like ours who associate mentors based on the background, based on familiarity, but not only that, based on things in common. So if the child wants to be a footballer when you grow up, the best person for them to look forward to is a footballer, and you've paired them strategically to ensure that these persons will motivate and encourage them to the future that they want to create for themselves, but the future that parent will be proud of as well.
Okay. For those who are not open to the whole idea of mentorship, what else would you recommend?
So you're not open to mentorship. So along the way, you'd realize that there are some negative behaviors that might be manifesting.
Okay.
This is not always the case, because you do have children who do not display these behaviors until maybe as an adult. And what you then do is you can also enroll your child in community initiatives. So you get them active, you get them interacting with their peers, positive peer groups. You get them into volunteer programs. So you keep these child active, keep them encouraged, and also help them to understand the importance of being in society, contributing to society. Because what you find is that persons who believe that they have a purpose are more less likely to commit these social ills that we have plaguing us.
What is Advocate for Change doing?
So Advocate for Change currently is doing what we're doing currently. First, we have our Father's Day activity with the Manchester Peace Coalition, where we're affirming, our aim is to affirm 57 males in Manchester as a father. That is 3 males from 18 at-risk communities in Manchester. So persons have the idea that nothing good can come out of these communities, but we have been able to identify these 3 strong men. We're also doing a fundraiser coming up on July 14. We're brunching. This fundraiser is aimed toward creating a database that would automatically pair children with suitable mentors. So I know you might raise a flag when you say an algorithm doing this. Before these mentors are added to the, so there's no discrimination against children, but there's no discrimination against children, no, but however, we're very skeptic about the mentors that we add to our system. And of course, you can understand why, for security reasons. So the idea is to partner with the different criminal justice with the criminal justice system, the different departments that speak to childcare, and we do evaluations for these mentors before being added. However, children are automatically added and paired.
How then can somebody who's listening try to help you or to help organizations like you to help, to change all of this?
Persons listening are able to donate to our organization via our website, which is afcjamaica.com. They're also they can also call us for information. That is, call us at 876-833-9753. That's Advocate for Change Jamaica's number. You can also reach out to us on social media. We're always available to have conversations about how we can partner to move forward, because it's not about Advocate for Change Jamaica. It's about Jamaica. How do we move from here? That's one of the reasons we were recently funded as well. We were recently named a grantee for the USAID FHI 360 grant. Yes, thank you. That will seek to do 5 sets of parenting workshops in 5 of the 18 vulnerable communities in Manchester to improve the capacity of fathers for them to be able to perform more effectively in their children's life.
Okay. How, as we're wrapping up, how open are fathers to this? Because, and it's, I don't want this to sound sexist, but I think for the most part, a lot of times fathers think that, a lot of the responsibility would be on the female. So how open are these men now to trying to change and play a more,
So the way in which we set up these forums is that we're working through the community-based organizations, the organizations that they already have relationships with, that they're willing to work with. We come in, we do our workshops, and we do a 6-month follow-up process with different groups. So we send them to other capacity building workshops. We pair them with organizations that are able to increase their opportunities to provide for their families, stuff like that over a 6-month period. And then we continue to follow up throughout the period, forming support groups as well. Because what you don't want happening is to create these opportunities in the communities when you're gone, you're done, they're dead, and no progress. We kind of tired of that now. So we find that these meals are open to attending a workshop for one day. So the question is now, how do you pack parenting into one day? And we found the creative solution through Miss Eva Ford of how we can do this to ensure that they receive the adequate information that is able to balance the standard of what parenting includes, etc. And then the follow-up period, which is also a learning process, we'll follow through with that. So we have the domino games that we go to the bar, we sit down, play 2 games, have the conversation. So we're doing the training indirectly as well, because you find, as you rightly said, males don't want to come to a session whole day and sit down and take notes or whatever. So to find practical ways to reach them as well, because it's a dire need and you have to find a way to fulfill that need.
Okay. You started out the conversation saying that father absenteeism has impacted the society because it then lends to increase suicide, runaways, rape, dropouts. That's how we started the conversation. So in ending it, leave us with something that will, give us the positive spin on that now. So these are the negatives. How then do we ensure that our fathers are where they're supposed to be?
So how do we ensure fathers are where they're supposed to be? Encourage them, affirm them. We have a way of tearing down persons instead of building them up. So we might see a father make a mistake, and instead of saying to them, brother, say this your photo, we tend to want to tear them down. So encourage them, affirm them. You can correct them, but you also have to be careful about how you do this as well in order not to turn them away. So that it will take a societal change to the point where we realize that taking care of a child is not just giving money. Because if that was the case, then we'd have an almost perfect Jamaica, because you do find that cases as it relates to maintenance cases are decreasing. But that may be as a result of mothers just not bothering with the so-called $1,500, or it is that they're just giving the monies these days. But we need to have a societal shift, and the shift does not need to occur only for males. It's also for females, because females are the ones who are dictating that taking care of the child means money. Yeah. So we have to have that societal shift. We need some form of earthquake in the system. And when we have that, then we will have the change that we desire. But for now, one, encourage your brethren that you see taking care of the child, the teacher that you see going the extra mile, because we don't affirm our male teachers as much either. So we continuously do this, and along the way, then the trend will continue, because we do like trends. And that's what we hope to be see a trend where persons are affirmed and not torn down. So encourage the fathers, correct them where necessary, help them to understand what parenting is. And as we go along, as we have the conversations, then the hope is that Jamaica will have at least a 5% decrease of father absenteeism in the next 5 years.
Thank you so much, Asheki Spooner.
Thanks for having me.
This was Making It Last podcast with your host, Noreen Taylor. It's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people. Until next time.
Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.